How I fell in love with the most popular guy in school. Hi, I'm Bella. I was never the kind of girl who turned heads. I wasn't unpopular, but I wasn't a cheerleader or student council president either. I loved books, had a small circle of friends, and spent most of my time daydreaming about the perfect guy who existed only in my imagination, or so I thought. It all started in my junior year when my high school's golden boy, Ryan Carter, walked into my life. Ryan was the guy everyone wanted to be or be with. Captain of the soccer team, top of his class, and effortlessly charming. Girls would practically faint if he so much as smiled at them. I had no reason to believe he even knew I existed. But everything changed during our school's annual book drive. The book drive incident. I was in charge of organizing the donations, which basically meant spending hours sorting dusty old books in the library. It was the kind of job most students avoided, but I didn't mind. Books were my sanctuary. One afternoon, I was deep in thought, trying to figure out where to place a stack of fantasy novels, when a voice startled me. Need some help? I looked up and nearly dropped the books in my hands. It was Ryan. I blinked, half expecting him to disappear like a mirage, but he stood there, holding out his hand with that trademark grin of his. "You're Bella, right?" he said. I nodded, too stunned to speak. How did he even know my name? Ryan spent the next hour helping me organize books. He was surprisingly good at it, cracking jokes and asking me about my favorite authors. By the time he left, my cheeks hurt from smiling. I couldn't believe the most popular guy in school had just spent an hour talking to me. After that day, Ryan started showing up in the library more often. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but then he began sitting at my table during lunch. My friends were as shocked as I was, and the whispers around school were impossible to ignore. Why is Ryan hanging out with her? Despite the rumors, Ryan didn't seem to care. He'd walk with me to class, ask about my day, and even join me during study sessions. Slowly, I realized that beneath his perfect exterior, he was just a regular guy. "I like talking to you," he said one afternoon. "You're real. You don't act like I'm some celebrity." His words stayed with me, but I couldn't help wondering if this was all some elaborate prank. After all, guys like Ryan didn't fall for girls like me. The school dance. Then came the fall ball. I wasn't planning to go, but my friends convinced me otherwise. They said it would be fun to dress up for once, so I borrowed a dress, curled my hair, and let them work their magic. When I arrived, the gym was packed. Glittering lights hung from the ceiling, and everyone looked like they had stepped out of a fairy tale. I felt out of place, but before I could slip away, someone tapped me on the shoulder. "Bella," Ryan said, his eyes lighting up when he saw me. "You look amazing." I stared at him, dumbfounded. He was wearing a suit that made him look even more perfect, and he was holding out his hand. "Dance with me?" he asked. My heart was pounding as I let him lead me to the dance floor. For the first time, it felt like we were the only two people in the room. After the dance, Ryan walked me home. As we stood on my porch, he hesitated, looking nervous, a side of him I'd never seen before. "I need to tell you something," he said. "I didn't start talking to you by accident." My heart sank. Was this the part where he confessed it had all been a joke? "I saw you during the book drive," he continued. "You were laughing with your friends and you looked so happy. I wanted to get to know you, but I didn't know how. So I volunteered to help." I stared at him, speechless. "You're different, Bella," he said. "You make me feel like I can be myself. I've liked you for a long time." Tears pricked my eyes as his words sank in. All this time, I had been doubting myself, thinking I wasn't good enough. But here he was, the most popular guy in school, telling me I was the one he wanted. Ryan and I started dating after that night, and while it wasn't always easy, balancing his popularity with my quiet life, it was worth it. He taught me to believe in myself, and I showed him the beauty in life's simpler moments. Looking back, I realized that falling in love with Ryan wasn't about him being the most popular guy in school. It was about finding someone who saw the real me, flaws and all, and loved me anyway. And that, my friends, is how I fell in love with the boy of my dreams.